Hey guys, welcome back to Vinceville Customs. So today we're going to do something different for my channel. We're going to go over why CGC is sort of bending all the books in their wells now. I'm having my coffee. I wanted to start this video because I did a live stream yesterday. And on the live stream while I was working on my statues, for those who don't know my channel, maybe you're just finding it because of the CGC stuff. I customize and paint statues for a living, you know, it's kind of my thing. But I'm building a display case set up with a statue and CGC books next to them. And I'll kind of go over how I collect and what's going on. But me and my friend, about a month ago or so, we sent in a bunch of Transformers because he likes Transformers. I sent in these Power Girls, pre-screens, and we wanted to get some 9/8. And even though they got 9/8, there's nicks and bends all over the books. Now, from what I've read, CGC is saying that, oh, this is the norm, blah, blah, blah. But it's not the norm. It can't be the norm because ever since CGC first came out, I've sent books in. And over here on this stack over here, I have CBCS, old case and new case. I have PGX, old case and new case. I have EGS of new company that's come out, of graded. And I also have some old CGC cases and even some new CGC cases when they redid the cases. So all these books are straight, perfectly fine in the stuff in the cases, but all of a sudden now all current stuff from CGC is being bent, and it doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of pissing us off that even though our books aren't that expensive, we were not going after, like, you know, first Wolverine, first Hulk, or first Doom, or anything like that. We just like our comics that we like, the stories, the writers, the characters, and we like to get them graded, and we want them mint as possible for our display. But when you go and you hunt down these books, even though it's a $5 book, it's not really worth more than that. You find a really nice copy, you send it into CGC only for it to be bent, really kind of is just disheartening, you know? So going forward, until CGC fixes this, or until PGX comes out and maybe they're a better company, I'm going to stick with CBCS now because these cases and the books in them are always straight and perfect, and the cases are just as fine. Now, personally, I was only doing the CGC stuff because it's kind of like the norm. I'm not really worried about the resale value as much. But now that I know they're bending my books, I'm done with CGC until this is fixed. So what I want to do in this video is I want to go over the bends in these books. I want to show you how I pick my books, how I pack my books, how I sent them out. And then I want to go over all the old cases and show you that the books are straight and they're not bent, because now CGC is claiming that, oh, you know, the inner wells, there is some bend to the books and it's normal. I don't think it's normal because I have old books here from other companies and they are perfectly straight in the well. But I have two theories of why these books are bending, and we're going to go over that as well. I'm just going to do an in-depth video. This isn't like an influencer video. I'm not trying to say, oh, this is the new hot book, get this, that, or any of that. No, I'm just showing you that I like to collect. I like what I want. That's just what I want on my shelf, whether the book is a $5 book or a $100 book. I just want it, but I just don't want them being bent in the case, because now, you know, everybody's going to probably, once this kind of goes viral and everybody looks at it, if you want to go and you want to buy that book, say, you know, it's like a book of like Kid Flash or something that I like and stuff, and it's on CGC, and someone's trying to sell it for $50, but I'm like, well, you know, it's probably in a new case and it's probably bent, so it's not really that great type thing. So, you know, I don't know. It's just what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set up. We're going to go over the bends in these books that I just got in. I'm going to show you what's going on. And then I'm going to show you how I pack them up. And then after that, we're going to go over all these other books. I'm going to show you that CGC is falling from grace. They're becoming worse and worse, while the other companies and the old ways, things were better. So, and just kind of go over stuff. So let me kind of get set up. We'll kind of show you all the bends here, and I'll show you how I picked out my books, and we'll go from there. Okay, so first things first. Here is 4 Archer and Power Girls. 2 foils and 2 regulars, right? Now, first things, you might be saying, okay, maybe you sent them in and they had nicks on them. Well, I'm insane, and honestly, what I did is when I first saw this book, I went on Golden Apple and I bought up a bunch of them, as you can see. I'm crazy. What I like to do is I like to buy up a bunch of books, and then what I do is I pick out the best of them, and I look through them all, and I say, okay, well, this spine is really good. There's no rollover. There's no nicks. There's no bends. Corners are good. And then what I did is I picked out my 4 best, and I sent them in the CGC. Now, you might be saying, oh, well, you know, maybe you missed something. Well, really, I don't think I do because I work on statues for a living. So when my friend came over, not only do I have my reading glasses, I also have my headgear, and I also have my magnifying glass here from my table, as you can see. And we went over all these books. We went all over all these, you know. So what I did is I pretty much, you know, take the book out of the bag and I put it in my hand and I kind of go in the light and I look at the corners, you know, and everything. And there is a really bad crease right here. I don't know if you can see it. My lights in my studio, excuse me, drinking my coffee, is pretty bad. There's a bend right there. But if you go to this book, right, there is a bend right about in the same exact spot. Right there. Okay? Now, you can even ask my friend, when I freaking went over these books, these things were immaculate. They were perfect. There was no bends, there was no nicks, the corners were good. When I put them back in my Mylar bags, I have the ones where it's pre-stick so you don't have the tape, you know, by accidentally getting anything. So we put everything back in there. And then, if you look at here, with the foil, there is a bend right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Probably can see it like right there in the light. And it's at the same spot there. So, how is it that these 4 books all have the same crease going in the same spot? Okay? Now you might be saying to yourself, oh, well, it's the way you packed it. Okay, so let's go over how I packed it. We sent in 11 books. I put 5 books in one of these and 5 books in one of these, right? Basic stuff. Now you might be saying, oh, you packed them wrong. Well, I beg to differ. I've been sending in the CGC for a long time. If I could send a custom statue right here, like this custom gene I'm working on, if I could send this statue from New Jersey to California without a box and bubble wrap, I think I could know how to send comic books from Jersey to Florida. So, imagine these books were all in their Mylar bags, you know. What I did is when I put these in here, I had it and I flipped it. I put this one down and I flipped it. So this way, all the spines were in all the way on each other like this. That's how I packed my books. Now, you might be saying, alright, well you packed them, maybe you didn't pack the books well enough. Well, what I did is after I taped the box here, I wrapped this in bubble wrap, and then I put these 2 together and I wrapped that in bubble wrap and I put it in a bigger box. I overpack my stuff. I'm insane because when I send out my statues, I want to make sure this stuff makes it there. So I know from New Jersey to Florida, even if you're in the same state and you're only sending 2 towns over, you still got to overpack because people will drop kick your stuff. So that's how I sent out my books. Now, the only other thing I could think of is when they're putting these books in here, there's something going on where either the person's manhandling them or these plastic pieces are a millimeter too big, and I'll kind of go over that in a second. But here's my friend's book, right? So he has a bend, a nick like right here. I don't know. It's like I said, it's kind of hard to show with all my studio lights. And then he has another one right there. Now, it may not be a color break, right? But how is it that this book, when this was mint and it would look great, all of a sudden has these stuff? Now, when you look at the side, you can see it's all warped. It's crazy what's going on right now. It's insane. And it's almost all these books. Every one of these books, except for like maybe 3 out of 11, have nicks in them now on the spine. This is insane. And I know these books aren't the most expensive books in the world. I get it. But these are stuff that we enjoy and we're displaying. This is all about what we want on our shelf and what we like. It's not about, this is the next $1,000 book or this is the next hot new key from all the influencers. Me and my friend are just all about the hobby and what we want on our shelf and having fun. So now I have a little bit of a theory of what's going on. I'm thinking 2 things are going on. One, when they get these books in, right, somebody's manhandling. So if all these books were flipped like this and they open it up from the thing, I'm thinking what they're doing is they're probably going like this, they're probably putting the books into the thing, they're probably lining them up. And then I think what they did with my Power Girl ones is whoever had it, the guy must have just crunched it right here. You know, they must have crunched it, and they must have maybe even bent it. Now mind you, these are just reading books. I'm just going to show you. Maybe they bent them, you know. That's maybe one thing. So maybe who's ever pulling these books out of boxes, maybe CGC is trying to pump this stuff out, and they're just manhandling the books. That's one theory what I'm thinking they're doing. The second theory, what I think they're doing, is this plastic piece that's in here is maybe 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters too long in the case. So, because I know one theory, somebody says that when they're heating this up, because they had that scam where people could pop these open and switch out the book. My theory is that this is just a little bit too long. So if any of you guys ever tried to put something into a case and it's too long, your item starts to kind of like bend going down. So maybe that's why these books are sort of bending, because if you look at it from the side, which is very hard to see, it's sort of not, it's like touching at the bottom there, and it's sort of touching over there, but this plastic piece is too long. So if you try to put something in a square container and it's too long, you're going to have a bend. You see, like you're having a bend right there. And that's what might be going on here. That's my theory. So it's either they're manhandling the books, or a new batch of these plastic pieces they have are actually too long, and when they're trying to put these in here, they're bending here like that. So that's my theory. That's my theory of what's going on with here. But yeah, these books were mint. There's no way that each of these books right here all have the same crease going down. And this is a pre-screen series. So if this crease is the same as this crease, is the same as crease, and same as that crease, there's something going on where they either manhandle them, or when they're pushing this book in, it's not lining up and it's bending it. Because if you look at the side here, you can see that the book is sort of going here, and then it bends up. It's really kind of hard to see, I know, because of my lights. And it's bent going upwards right where that crease is. The same thing here with this Transformer one. So we have a crease here, and we have a crease here. So when we look at it, we can see that the book is sort of bent here, and then it's sort of bent here, exactly where those creases are. So this is not a 9/8. I'm sorry, this is not a 9/8. These are not 9/8s, because if you were to, you know, try to sell this on eBay and somebody got it in there and be like, why are there creases here? I mean, the corners are perfectly clean. There's no real spine rollover. The staples are good. You know, everything's looking good, but there's a huge crease there. I'm sorry, but out of all the years I've been doing CGC, whether it's been for my own collection or to sell them on eBay to offset my cost, I have never seen a creases like these on a 9/8. On a 9/6 I have, but never ever on a 9/8. Never. I've gone to plenty of comic book shows on the East Coast, around New Jersey, Baltimore, you know, all Connecticut, Terrificon. I've looked at tons of CGC books that I'm into, and you could always tell that a 9/8, you know that the spine is usually good, they're straight in there, but these aren't straight. So, with that being said, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know, do I contact CGC? Are they going to tell me that, oh, that's just the norm, that's normal, there's nothing wrong with your books? I don't know. There's a crease going down perfectly here. There's something wrong with that. And the same thing with all my friends' Transformers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out all those other books from the other company, and I'm going to show you that there is no spine ticks on them with the 9/8s compared to 9/6s and the other companies, how straight they are. Because I want to show you guys that there is something wrong. There's something going on with CGC, and they're destroying these books. And like I said, I know they're not the most expensive books in the world, but they're still, we paid for a service, we look for mint books, we sent them in, and now they're all banged up. So, I'm going to grab all those other books, we're going to go over the old cases, the new cases, and show you that what CGC is claiming that the warpage in there is a normal thing, it is not. These other companies don't have it, and the old CGC books didn't have it either. So let me get those popped out and we'll go over that. Alright, so these are some of the other companies, and this is what's going on. Alright, so let's start off with PGX, okay? Back in the day when PGX first started, I tried them out as well as CGC. You know, because, you know, earlier on during the days, you want to see what grading companies are doing what. And, you know, I was just messing around, having fun. So, this right here is a super old PGX case. I did this on 2013, okay? I went to New York Comic Con, met Peter David, and I had Chris Cross sign it. And I just sent it in the PGX because I wanted to try their company. Now, when I look at this on the side, the book is perfectly straight going across. Yeah, it's an old case. It's not, you know, it's a little bit flimsy, but it's something from back in the day. But the book is perfectly straight. Looking at it in the light, there's no bends, there's no creases on the spine. This is from 2013, and the book is still good in the case, right? Perfectly fine. This right here was done, I think I did this maybe 2 years ago or something when this came out. I did this just as a display piece. I wanted this book just to kind of put on my wall, but I didn't want to pay so much money to CGC because it's not really worth much. So I just sent this in the PGX to experiment, plus I wanted to see their new cases. It's just an experiment. You know, I know a lot of people, oh, you know, you really shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 but I wanted to send this in just as a display case. Now, there was a nick here on the side, but that was when I sent in the book. This was just a display. They still graded it a 9.8. I didn't really care. It's just something for my wall. But when you look at it from the side, it is perfectly straight in here. Now, it may be PGX, but it's perfectly straight. So, why is it that a PGX from years ago and a PGX that was done a year ago is perfectly straight on the spine, but CGC, who is the biggest grading company and the go-to for your comics, is bending all your books? Doesn't make any sense to me. So, here we go. Now, this is CBCS. This is an old CBCS case, right? I picked this up off eBay a while ago because it was just kind of really cool to get a signed one from Frank Chow, and I wanted this book, and I didn't mind getting a 9.6. Now, looking at the spine, I'm not seeing any bends or warps, alright? Now, it's probably a 9.6 because something else is going on, I'm not really sure. But if you look at it from the side, I know there's some plastic in there. The book is perfectly straight in here. There's no warpage, nothing. I know it's an old case and it's got a little floppy give to it, but the book is still straight. Now, this is a new case from CBCS. I had this reholder, I think it was a year or so ago. I picked this up signed on eBay, and I didn't like the old floppy case, so I sent this in for a reholder, I'm pretty sure. Now, even though it's a 6.5 and we got a lot of spine ticks on it, if you look at it from the side, the book is perfectly straight in the thing. It's perfectly straight. There's no warpage, there's no give, it's perfectly straight. So, how is it that PGX and CGC, old and new cases, are straight, but CGC, you know, PGX, CBCS is straight, but that's done. Now, I also wanted to try another company. This is EGS Comics grading, and what they do is they offered that thing where they can verify your signature. I wanted to experiment. The books aren't really expensive. I picked up these signed, you know, bombshell stuff, and I just wanted them to grade it, right? And I wanted to see what their cases are. I wanted to get a feel from them. I mean, I'm not a fan of the cases only because it needs to be, like, you know, a little bit more updated. But how is it that this company, who's new, the books are straight in the case? I mean, I'm looking from the side, and there's no warpage going on. You know, there's no really bending going on with these, right? I mean, they're perfectly straight in there. There's no bends or warps. So that's another company, right? So this doesn't make any sense. So there we go. Those are those three companies. So now we're going to go on to an old CGC thing. Now I did this back at, I had this graded back, it was when this book came out around 2005. I think it was the Penn Plaza convention in New York City. Adam Hughes was there. And I brought like 3 or 4 of these in to get signed. And then I sent in like a couple raws to kind of get graded. And this is an old CGC case. This is back when they're floppy and they're a little flimsy. Looking at the side, the book is completely straight in there. There's no warpage at all with the book. And that's an old case, right? So that doesn't make any sense. Now, we have a couple books here that have a problem. So I went to the Morristown, New Jersey convention. I met Joe Staten, and I went and got this book signed. Okay, now I understand when you go and get a signature, the book can sort of maybe kind of get damaged between going back and forth the signature, and I had a remark done. Now, I hunted this book down for a while. I really wanted to hunt down this Adventure Comics, and I really wanted to find a mint copy. Now, I know I was going to find the most mint of mint books, but there is a really nasty bend right here. There's a really, really nasty bend right here, and that was not there when I handed it off to Agents of Slab. Agents of Slab was the facilitator there that day, and I have those yellow flat books, you know, you can order from CGC, and you can have your artist sign it. Now, what I did was I have like 4 boards in there, and then after it was signed, the Agent Slab asked me to put it into a regular, you know, white board bag, and I did that. But when you look at the book, you can see it's going down, and it's bent right there, and it bends up. So the book is coming down and up right here, right where that mark is. So CGC is ruining this book. This book might have been a 9.6, but I think with that bend and everything, it's probably more of a 9.4. So let's go on to something else of older CGC stuff, okay? As you can see, I'm a Power Girl fan, but I also like Flash, alright? So, what I like to do with my collection, hold on, let's get this one over here. I like to hunt down the book mint, and I want a 9.8 that's not signed. But because I love these characters, I love the writing, I love the art, this is like my favorite stuff, I want to go and meet the artist to get it signed. So what I like to do is some of my old collection, because I was so meticulous back in the day, when I used to go to the comic book store after I graduated art school in '98, I got a full-time job. I was able to go to the comic book store every week and pay like, you know, $50 to $100 per week on comics. I used to bring my own bag and boards with me, and I would go on the shelf and I would pick the mint book. I was sick back then, and I still do it now. It's just the way it's in me. I don't know whether it's an OCD thing or whatever. So what I did is I sent in my own books in here because I want to get those, like, you know, really nice and graded and everything, and no issues or anything like that. And then what I like to do is I like to hunt down a mint copy, and then I like to meet these artists or writers at shows and get them signed. Now, I know a signature one will probably have issues because of all the handling, but the ones that are not and stuff. So now, this is an old one that I got graded a while back, right? There's no real stress, just a little bit of a stress there, but nothing compared to what's going on. But when you look at the book inside, it's perfectly straight going across. It's perfectly straight. There's no issues on there. There's no bends, there's no warps, there's nothing going on. And usually with the black covers, you can see things even worse. Same thing with this one. You know, there's no bends or nicks. It's really nice and clean. And when you look at it from the side, the book is completely straight going across. You know? Maybe a little tiny bit of a but that was from the book when I sent it in. That's not from it being bent in the case. And then what we do is we go to the signature one, right? The signature one has a little bit of a sort of a bend there too, but I don't know, maybe you guys could correct me on this, but I figure signature stuff have a little bit more leeway because, you know, they're handling. But when you look at it from here, this book is completely straight in there. And this was only graded, this was sent in like a year, 10/10/23, 43/1. This was done through their events because I never had a chance to meet Jeff Johns at a show, so I sent in my book to get signed. Right, so that's so something's going on. Something's going on. This one right here, this was done on 1/10/23. I met Mark Wade at the Baltimore Con, and this one's a 9.6 because it has a nick. I think a nick there. But you know, I just wanted to get this one signed. This was the best copy I could find after the past couple years, and I knew. But I don't care if it's a 9.6 because it's a display piece. But this one has a little bit of a bend to it, but nothing compared to what those new Power Girls are. So that's what I'm seeing. This is my experience. You know, even right here, I got this flash here. So this is my flash. It's got a black border here. I'm looking at it. There's no stretch marks. There's no bends. When you look at it from the side, it's nice and perfectly straight in there. There's no issues. This one I went and had Mark Waid sign 2 that day. It came back as a 9.8. There's no stretch marks. There's no bends. The book is perfectly straight in there. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, you can see it. We have older books. We have other companies. We have older stuff graded. We have newer stuff graded. All before this whole scam thing happened. And I guess they're either overheating it. Whatever they're doing, they're bending all the books. So I think going forward now, for my own personal use, I pretty much have all my Grail stuff. You know, I have my... You know, all my favorite books are pretty much now graded at 9.8s. You know, they're not the most expensive books. I know people aren't going to be like, oh my god, you know, these are just my favorite stuff. It's stories I loved, artwork I loved, and that's what I got. And then all my signed stuff is for just the adventure. It's for the fun stuff. I find a nice mint book. Me and my friends, we get together, we go to a comic book show, and I go and get these graded and I display them on my shelf. And then when I'm looking at it on my shelf, I'm like, oh, I remember that convention. We had a good laugh that day. I got to meet that artist and talk to him. And this is more sentimental value. This is my collection stuff. This is my display stuff and the, you know, sentimental and the stuff I want on display. Because I like to have my mint stuff graded and that's it. And then, so that's kind of what I'm doing. But now, going forward... Since I have most of my stuff graded now, and everything is, it's kind of newer stuff I'm doing, I got a couple more signatures to do. I'm going to stick with CBCS. I have a little bit more confidence in them that the books are, maybe the grading is a little bit harsher, and maybe I won't get as high grades with signatures, but the cases are stronger, and I know that they're going to be straight in the case. And the other thing, too, I've noticed, I know some companies do it, but I feel that the books move more in the CGC cases than CBCS. I think some of the newer cases I have with some of the signature stuff, like, for example, on this one, if you kind of hit it, the book sort of kind of goes there, and if you kind of hit it here, the book goes to the edge over there. So the book actually moves in these, whereas these, they don't move. Maybe a little bit, but I feel that the CBCS stuff has a little bit more of a clamp from moving compared to the new CGC stuff. So, I don't know. Sorry for my rambling. It's early in the morning. I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm just kind of like pissed off. You know, I'm not pissed that I lost, you know, $1,000 books. I didn't send anything in that's expensive. I'm just pissed that I hunted down the mint books because I wanted that graded, only for them to kind of shove it into the case and they bent it all. So, I mean, these Power Girls are pretty much shot, and my friend's stuff is shot. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe that little nick there could be pressed out. But this is a foil cover, and from my experience, usually like foils, when they kind of bend and stuff, you really can't, you know, fix it too much. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of done. So, I think for now on, for the hobby going forward, I'm going to wait for PSA to see how they grade their books. And then maybe what I'll do is, anytime I want to get a book that's sort of like my Grail book, just to put in my box, to be at a 9.8, I'll send the PSA. But for now, I want to get signature stuff. I'll just stick to CBCS because... I'm just getting a vibe that these cases are better and they won't be damaged as much. So, I don't know. You guys let me know. If you're new to my channel, have you stuck through this far? What do you think? Do you think that CGC is falling from grace? Do you think there's something going on internally that they haven't figured out yet? Do you think it's going to get worse before it gets better? But I lost faith. I lost faith in CGC. And I'm actually was telling my friend... I'm glad we sent in a lot of our old books that we wanted graded before all this happened, you know? I'm a fan of JSA, Power Girl, Kid Flash, Kingdom Come. I wanted to get all that stuff graded in nice copies, and then now I'm pretty much going off to get them all signed for display, and then that's it. I'm done with my collection because going this route is kind of starting to kill it for me, you know? after all those Power Girls I paid for and I bought, and I found the most mint ones to get pre-screened, only for them to be bent, it's kind of pissing me off there, you know. The book itself isn't worth a lot, but the time and the money grading and picking them up kind of did me in. So that's my experience with CGC and the bend wells. Hopefully this video gives you an idea of what's going on, at least my experience. But I don't know. If companies for years now can keep a book straight, and all of a sudden CGC can't keep the book straight in their cases, I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what's going on. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Give me some feedback. Not the best video in the world. Not, you know, super high quality. But it's just me showing you what's going on. Explaining stuff and comparing old stuff to new stuff. So, there you go. So, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I'm going to contact CGC this week. See what they say. But I think going forward, CBCS all the way for my signatures. Just so I have peace of mind, at least the book is straight in the thing. Whether it's graded low or high, at least I don't have to worry about them bending the hell out of the stuff. So, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And we'll be back with some more videos.